Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 113 today for the Canadian Grand Prix in Season 6. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Monaco Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was a very dramatic episode, I guess, in terms of the results there. Not ideal for us, spoiler alert. Of course, Lucas Weber made us crack under pressure. It's our first DNF in a long while in F1 2019 career mode, and really, you know, it's starting to become a bit of an issue. You know, this is a consistency that Weber is showing, and we just can't match him really toe-to-toe the entire time. Of course, we have beaten him, I think, 2 or 3 times so far this season, but overall, like I said at the end of last episode, I've never really been challenged this much by an AI teammate up until now, which is obviously really great for you guys to watch and really great for the entire series at the moment in this new season. But of course, for me, that's a new problem because I need to try and somehow unnerve him, undo him basically, and try and get one over. I'm hoping this weekend, this episode can be the one. The Canadian GP is one of my favourite race weekends in the F1 game as a whole over the last few years, really, not just this game as well. So I'm hoping to go well. Verstappen also has been, you know, basically just doing a great job in the background there. Never been off the podium apart from last episode. Apart from that, he was always on the either the top step or on the third step. So he's been doing a great job. He's ahead of both myself and Weber. So not only am I trying to go up against Lucas Weber this weekend and try and bounce back from that, but also trying to take the fight back to Verstappen because he's just starting to creep a little bit of a nice cushion there. You know, in terms of career mode terms, the cushion he's got to Weber and myself is quite large in terms of the points because it usually only comes down to a few at the end of the season. So just want to also try and reel the Ferrari man back in as well. So let's go to qualifying, see how we do over one lap. Hopefully the rain at the end of that indicator, they won't really affect things too much. Hopefully we can get some good, decent, clean runnings in on the dries.
Hello and welcome from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, home to the Canadian Grand Prix for today's qualifying session. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So sunny skies at the moment as we start our first lap here in Montreal. The start of qualifying, of course, short qualifying here. We should be able to get 3 runs in here. We only got 2 last time at Monaco, but obviously a very different kind of circuit. Plenty of room to work with here, but already now the sky is getting a little bit darker as we cross the line for that first line lap. It's just a banker lap, to be honest. It's not a very good lap time. P9 there. In the end, it'll be down to P15 eventually. George Russell, my old teammate from last season in the Ferrari, they're doing a great job on provisional pole at the moment. Verstappen's also just set a banker because he's down in P16 with me. So both of us rivals setting a bit of a slow time to start off with. I guess kind of bedding in the circuit, I guess, a little bit with the car, but don't want to waste too much time because the rain is coming. And on that second flying lap, we come across the line with a much more blistering lap time there for us, and we go provisional pole for now. As you can see, Russell's close there in second place. Then Russell comes back again and grabs pole back off us. So us 2 former teammates are going toe-to-toe there, it would seem, at the Canadian GP for pole position maybe. But Pierre Gasly also comes in, so it's all my old rivals really coming through in this qualifying session. Weber has not set such a good lap time so far there on that second run of his then. By the time we come through to the last run, the rain does come down. I cannot improve, so in the end the rain does hinder us a little bit because I wasn't able to get another run in. We qualify in P4 then, which I'll still take. I think that's still pretty damn decent as both Russell and Verstappen out qualify us, but I know the Ferrari was going to be very quick because the Ferrari car, we know how quick it is in a straight line. Of course, Canada being Canada, it was always going to be good around here, but I was surprised maybe at how far down the order Weber was in P7. I think he got definitely affected by the rain because he only set, I think, 1 run in that qualifying session before the rain started to come down, so I don't know why he's been doing that for the last 2 episodes for some reason, so that definitely hindered him. But going off the back of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where obviously there's a massive long straight, and our car went pretty well there in qualifying, I would have thought we would have been right up there with Ferrari, but those 2 have comfortably kind of beat us there, along with Gasly, the man on pole. He's done a mega job in that Racing Point car, so I don't know where that pace came from the Frenchman there. So, like I said, all our old rivals and current rivals right up there. Russell, Gasly, Verstappen, so this might be quite an exciting start to the Grand Prix. Already on the front foot, though, ahead of Lucas Weber for the grid, so let's try and convert that and beat him in the race, and obviously try and go ahead and go for at least a podium minimum, but being Canada, I always want to try and go for the win. I always feel like we can go for the win here at Montreal. It's one of my favourite circuits, like I said. So let's go to the grids and see how we do.
Canada has a true love affair with Formula One. The grandstands here are always packed to capacity. It's a country that has given us the likes of Gilles and Jacques Villeneuve, the thrilling Grand Prix of '79, of '98 and of course 2011. They love their motorsport in Montreal and we absolutely love coming here. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, the engineer, Lewis Hamilton and Norris, Weber, Stroll, Butler and Daniel Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Vettel, Romain Grosjean and Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Bottas, Kevin Magnussen and Sergio Perez. Hülkenberg and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Talk about then ahead of us on the grid. So if we want to try and go for that race win today, we have to try and go through two Ferraris of Verstappen and Russell, and then also our former championship rival Pierre Gasly in the Racing Point car doing a great job, like I said, a very surprising job. In terms of the strategy, we're going to go for a two-stop. It's basically either a two-stop, just using one set of hards at the end, or a set of mediums. I think the tyre wear around here, even though the Renault tyre wear is pretty bad so far this season, I think we should be able to comfortably do two sets of mediums there. In terms of fuel load, we're going to go right on the edge of under-fueling, but also having just enough fuel to get through. I'm expecting at some point us to hit traffic, maybe when we make pit stops, to try and save that fuel in lean mixture, of course, to try and save the engine temps as well. So with that, we're going to go towards the race start. Then we've got a very good chance today, starting ahead of Weber, to punch back in the championship, make up for the mistakes at the Monaco Grand Prix last time out. Here we go then to 5 red lights to the Canadian Grand Prix. Lights are out and we're on the way straight away. Verstappen with a lightning start there on the left-hand side, as well as Russell. Gasly's been swarmed. It's 3 wide into turn 1 and turn 2. Gasly gets the elbows out though and maintains first place somehow there. But that was a lightning start from the two prancing horses there, with Prati galloping towards that first place, but somehow the Frenchman keeps it through in that Racing Point car. We maintain P4 there. Wasn't really too troubled into turn 1 at all, rather kind of looking ahead with a bucket of popcorn in the cockpit of the car. Now our task is just to settle down in this Grand Prix then and try and do the best job we can of putting Verstappen in pressure there in P3. But as we move on to lap number 3, then DRS would be activated on this lap, but it has actually failed on our car there on the bottom right. You can see the rear wing has failed. Thankfully, we didn't have the DRS open as it failed. I don't think I've ever seen that in the F1 game, to be honest. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had that, but I've never had that in my experience. But we are unable to open the DRS, which is a major issue for us here in this Renault, because this car is not naturally quick enough in a straight line to overtake any cars, let alone maybe defend against other cars that do have DRS. So, you know, maybe we could have survived this in the Ferrari of last season, but, you know, this Renault definitely cannot do this. We're just about hanging on to the back of Verstappen, but you're about to see we're going to have to use hot lap mode and rich mix, and that's only just going to keep us level with Verstappen. Usually, I would say we'd start to close in a little bit here, and I'm worried more so about Lando Norris behind us, and so we come through into lap number 4, losing some time in sectors 1 and 2 there, 2 red sectors, and Norris is gaining on us now. We're up into hot lap mode, overtake mode again, as we have to save some ERS in the middle of the lap, but Norris is cleanly past us, maybe we have to try and outbrake him into the chicane. chicane. We go side by side. We keep it through and just about survive and live to fight another day in P4. And behind, there's a whole gaggle of cars behind Lando Norris, including my teammate Weber and also the likes of Lewis Hamilton there. So he just about managed to hang on to P4, but that was close. I mean, you saw how easily Norris just pulled up alongside us there. So I really need DRS back very, very soon. And by the time we move through to lap number 7, that's Kimi Raikkonen, I believe, in the Alfa Romeo, who's retired from this Grand Prix in Sector 1. We have got DRS back, as you can clearly see on the rear wing and the bottom right there. So thank our lucky stars. That only lasted for 4 laps there. Like I said, I've really rarely seen it even last for an entire race, let alone a few laps. So thankfully we're back in action, and now immediately we watch on Verstappen v Russell there, the two Ferraris, and they've slowed each other up, and we make a fantastic little easy move on Verstappen there. The textbook switch from the right to left as they were holding each other up into that chicane there happens so often. We've seen it so many times in previous seasons on this very game in this career mode there, and we're up into P3 now of the Grand Prix, and now we're going on a real charge there. So we're making up for lost time I lost without DRS. We make up for it now as we go down the inside then of our former teammate from last season. Side by side, Russell gives us a good old pinch there for good old time's sake, but we get up into P2, we hold our nerves, and I think Russell might be slowed up enough that Verstappen may just try a little touch maybe for P3, you never know. Let's see on the top left. No, Russell maintains that for now, but as we close up then to Pierre Gasly, he comes in to the pit stops then on lap number 10 that was, and the same for Weber and the Red Bull and Verstappen, I think that was, or Russell, but Weber, no matter what Ferrari it was, whoever it was, held Weber up enough where he got jumped by the Red Bull. So Weber was already down the order in about P7, but he's now being jumped by a Red Bull that he was fighting. I think it's Lance Stroll. Meanwhile, you can see there, Gasly went through, and there goes Verstappen side by side, and he's jumped George Russell in the pit stops there. Verstappen made a pit stop 1 lap earlier on lap number 8 it was, and that was lap number 9 Russell came in for. We've come in 2 laps later on lap 11, really stretched these soft tyres, but that was Verstappen jumping his teammate. So I believe the running order should be Gasly, myself, Verstappen, Russell, and then like I said, I think somewhere in the mix of P6 to 7, Weber has lost out 1 more position than he already didn't have to a Red Bull of Lance Stroll, I think that is. So we made the pit stop now, that first one of 2, onto a set of medium tyres, yellow wall tyres. Let's see where we are. Gasly's already shot through there, so the Frenchman really looking very strong right now around Canada as we come out just ahead of Kevin Magnussen there, but comfortably ahead of the 2 Ferrari cars there. So good work for us also on stretching that first stint then as we come through the last few corners on lap number 14 then. We've gone purple first, green second, and it'll be a green third to go the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and we are chasing after Pierre Gasly now. But he did have a decent gap to us, so it's going to take us a few laps. So whilst we do that, let's look at a running order then. Verstappen P3, it's actually Lando Norris in P4, so Russell's had a horrendous second part of this race then, as he's actually behind a Red Bull as well. So Russell's down to P5, he's actually only ahead of Lucas Weber. Of course, this entire pack was a little bit away from the kind of top pack, and so Russell was with us in the top end there, but now he finds himself in this kind of, I guess, mid-tier pack in the points there. He's actually now side by side with the Red Bull, tries to make the move, doesn't quite work. Will Weber have a good run on the Brit? I think he might do, but also Hamilton's also there. These guys are so close, and this is how close the field is there. You love to see it really, but Weber unable to make a move right now. They're stuck behind George Russell, and whilst he gets stuck behind the 1 Ferrari, we're still trying to chase after a Racing Point car of 1 Pierre Gasly. We're now all the way on lap number 17, so it's taken us 4 whole laps to try and close up to the Frenchman. But I feel like, you know, Gasly did a great job in qualifying, fair play, but I think so far he's only been there in first place because he's not really been fighting. You know, the 2 Ferraris were fighting each other, I was fighting them. Now he's on his own, he's under pressure, he's got no DRS. I think this should be a pretty easy pass, I would say, to make the move for first place. It's just about trying to execute that. So here we go through the last corner, good exit there into the next lap, lap number 18 on the outside. Gasly goes defensive to the inside, he'll push us towards the outside of the track there. We're going to try and get back at him with the elbows equally on the next right-hander. Up the crest though, he gets a good bit of acceleration there on the outside. He has a great brake zone there, forces us to really work for the move into that chicane down the hill, but we make it work, and we're up into first place of the Canadian Grand Prix, but not for too long, because straight away Pierre Gasly shows the straight line speed, strength of that Racing Point car. He gets right back at us, back up into first place there. I was pretty much defenseless into the brake zone there, and so we have to stick back behind in second place, have to go down the ERS modes. You can see there we don't have too much ERS to play around with. I need to save enough for the end of this lap basically, so we do just that. We've got got enough now to deploy in overtake mode. We can open up DRS, rich mixed in entire time because the engine fuel has not been an issue for us. And so here we go now, fake to right, go to the left there, and the move on the outside. Gasly keeps his nose in though. We have to give him the space. I was very wary of making contact with Gasly, and we leave him the space there. Probably the most respectful I've ever been to Pierre Gasly on the F1 game in this career mode so far, to be honest. We look back at previous episodes, but we now go and drift through the first and second corner, almost kick the tail out a la kind of Jensen Button style in 09 in Brazil to try and kind of force him to back off there in the corner, and we keep the P1 position, and hopefully now we can try and pull away and kind of control this Grand Prix from first place. We do just that for the rest of that stint onto lap 23. Gasly covers us off and comes in with us on that lap for a pit stop. I believe Verstappen came in a lap earlier, so he may have a chance of an undercut. We'll have to see, but we strap on a set of medium tyres then to end this Grand Prix off. I believe you can just see there, maybe not quite accurately as I already know, Gasly's put on a set of hard tyres, so he's done a very weird strategy. He doesn't believe he has the tyre wear for this Grand Prix, which I don't believe. I think this should be an easy two-stop on a set of medium tyres. So here we come out now. The track has a slight sheen to it as the overcast conditions have come out. It's not going to rain, I don't think, in this race, but you can see there Verstappen has just made a move. We cut away at the wrong time there. We cut on just as he made the move there. Verstappen somehow has managed to make a whirly undercut, and he's up into P2 already on the exit of the pit lane there. Gasly got swamped by the Dutchman, and so he's in P2. So Verstappen, flying in this GP, had to come back and obviously overtake his teammate, overtake Gasly, and now he's on the back of us. Lap number 26. It is very much overcast conditions now. I don't know how that will affect things in this Grand Prix. Maybe the track a little bit colder. I don't know if that will be at the advantage of the Ferrari or the Renault, but the Ferrari, I know one thing, is flying at the moment here in a straight line with DRS. Verstappen on the outside, and there's literally nothing I can do there. I had no chance of defending that. He was so confident on the brakes. I was not, and he had so much overspeed from the DRS. He sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. He does it there, and he takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. So this may be a little bit of a wary sight here. The championship leader, the man who's got a bit of a cushion already in the championship, looking so strong, but we are going to come back. We stick with Verstappen just enough to get DRS back on him here on lap 27. With DRS, our car can fly through. We fake to right, go to left once more, again making a move on the outside to the inside for the next part of the chicane. Verstappen, though, really gets the elbows out there. He really forced the defense there on us, and I think there was some contact made. I think there might have even been a little bit of damage, you know, to Verstappen's wing there, I think, on the end plate there, but all I know is for sure Verstappen kept his foot in so much so that I had to really back off through that chicane rather than fly through it like I usually do. But we get first place back there, but for how much longer can we keep this lead, because Verstappen just looks so supremely quick in the last sector, especially if he's the one chasing after us. But meanwhile, as we look back behind, you may have noticed Pierre Gasly nowhere near us because he's got an issue with his car now, a mechanical issue with the Racing Point car. Such a shame for the pole man. And so Lando Norris is through up into P3 of this GP, and Lucas Weber, the man who's in P5 right now, he's finally got past the likes of the House of Leclerc and onto the Red Bull of Stroll. He now closes up onto Gasly, so he's going to be up into P4 of this Grand Prix then. So it's myself in the lead, remember, Verstappen second place, Norris in P3, but for how much longer? Because Verstappen is attacking me, and Norris has come at a rate of knots, because I've been defending against Verstappen now for a few laps there, and now Norris is getting in the mix there. Lando Norris goes for a move on second place there. They're side by side. I think the Ferrari car still should have the advantage, but they're both gaining on us equally there. We go defensive to the inside. Verstappen has a massive look. He hits our front left tyre there, and I think there's a little bit more contact made between us two there as he really slows down. On lap 32 then we go. We've got 4 laps left in this Grand Prix, including the end of this one. How much longer can we hold on for? These guys look so quick as Verstappen comes back at us again. Down the inside he goes. He's fully alongside us though, but we fight back. We get through. A great exit there. We're now side by side, but here comes Norris. Here comes Weber. Weber now on the right hand side there. He's actually trying to go the long way round. He's on the outside of us. We force him out. We have to give him a bit of room on the next right hander, but Lucas Weber, he's been nowhere in this Grand Prix, and now he's just announced himself in P3 and fancies overtaking us as he goes for another little look on the outside of us into the hairpin this time. On lap 33 we hold it through in P2 because I'm still focused on Verstappen. I still think we can get the race win on Verstappen, but now Weber annoyingly is getting in the mix here, and so once again the top 3 are the top 3 in the championship. And so here we come now, closing up on Verstappen. Can't make a move to the last corners, but on the exit we get a great run. DRS open for the second time there. Overtake mode. We're going to go on the left hand side. Verstappen squeezes us towards the wall, but we keep our foot in there, and we're going to force him wide into turn 1, get first place. But look at the top left. I think that's Weber. As we look behind here briefly, yep, Lucas Weber has just made a move around the outside and mugged Verstappen off for second place. It's a 1-2 for Renault once again in Season 6, but Weber is adamant he wants to try and get first place. He's been nowhere near this win, but now, when it really matters on the final laps, Weber fancies stealing it from under us. He's got DRS open. Verstappen comes at us. We block him off on the right there. A little bit cheeky from us, but had to be done. Weber goes defensive into the last corner as we go on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. We're in second place, have a good run, but look at this speed Weber's got. Obviously, the same car, same piece of machinery, so I have no advantage having such a great exit. Weber locks up a little bit, so maybe he's feeling the pressure, but unlike with Verstappen there, the pace difference on acceleration didn't matter because we have the same car. We're going to top out at the same kind of speeds here, basically, so Weber holds it through in first place, and so we move on to the last straight of the last lap. Is it going to be another Baku repeat? Can we do it again? On the line for first place, through the last corner for the final time. We're alongside him just by a whisker, but no, it's not enough contact made, and across the line, Lucas Weber wins the Canadian Grand Prix. The most unlikely winner. He was in P7 for most of this Grand Prix, and he's stolen first place from us. We've been beaten by him again.
Right out of the top draw to take the win for Renault. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
As we can see, it's time for the podium, and I can see the Renault team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their drivers walk out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team.
This man right here on the top step is really becoming one of our hardest rivals in F1 2019 career mode. He wins the Canadian GP. He stole the win from us practically there, because I thought it was just going to be a fight between myself and Verstappen there at the end, but he came out of nowhere, lightning quick, and you saw on that last lap, I gave him my all, but just couldn't get a good enough run through that final corner. Even if I cut the corner even more, I wouldn't be able to do it. So Weber gets first place. He's beaten us again, and he's got another win over us there, and he takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And look at that 17-point gap to Weber in first place there. Verstappen only has a 5-point gap, so it's all very close between Verstappen and Weber, but I'm actually slowly losing touch a little bit here with Verstappen and Weber. I need to be careful, and so this is just insane. I mean, for you guys at home watching, this will be thrilling stuff. I really, like I mentioned before, I have never had a fight taken to me this hard by a teammate ever on this game, and actually the last few games of the Codemasters F1 series in career mode, so this is a new feeling for me. I feel a little bit powerless right now in terms of I'm trying my best, but he's just so bloody quick. So we go again. I have to, at some point, I have to break his consistency. I need to get another win also to get myself back into the championship in terms of points. You know, 17 points. Even if I win the next Grand Prix, I'll only still gain a maximum of about, you know, 7 points there. So need to really pull the socks up. But guys, if you did enjoy what was another fantastic, enthralling Grand Prix in Season 6, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly F1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.